I came here as ambassador of Nepal to Myanmar in May 2017, so 28 months ago. Before I was assigned this diplomatic position, I served as UN official in 9 different countries. I was here little more than 3 years. It was in 2003 when I came, and then in November 2006 I left.
So it means that during that time and now, when you've come back, you are now witnessing the beginning of the transition, political transition to democracy. What sort of changes do you perceive?
Yeah, I must say the situation at the time was quite different than what we face today. At the time, the country was under economic sanction. There was no political freedom, which means people could not exercise democratic rights. You know, people had hardly any communication with the outside world. Internet service was under strict scrutiny. So you can see the difference between those days and now.
A difference within a span of 13 years since you have come back, isn't it?
Yeah, about, to be accurate, about 12, 13 years.
So in 13 years, you have witnessed a lot of changes here.
Yes, I did. Even in terms of development, we can see that the roads are wide. Now electricity supply is almost regular.
And you have internet.
Education, internet service. Well, it's you can see the whole world now. In what is happening now in the US or in Australia or in Canada. You know, it's within a second you can find out what's happening there.
Yeah.
So it's a different world.
Yeah. So the other question that I would like to ask you is about your perception of the religious freedom and movement around here.
Well, I should say, because I know it, I have experience. When this country was under military rule, religion was the only way for them to meet together, gather together, assemble together, and celebrate together. Otherwise, it was not possible to be in a group, in a large group. They were allowed to perform. They were allowed to assemble in the temples, either in Hindu temples. That's the only source that they could gather. They could communicate with them. They could celebrate whatever they want according to their own religion. I think this government has done, even the military government has done a very good job giving full right to exercise their religious freedom. When this problem in Rakhine came up, some international forums, some groups, they tried to paint it as a religious problem. But I talked to one very influential Muslim leader whether that was the case. And he denied, and he told me that we don't consider that it is a religious problem. It is a problem of that particular location, particular area, and it has nothing to do with the Muslim at large. Yeah, I think the people outside, they should know that Rakhine alone is not Myanmar. Rakhine is a very small part of Myanmar, and then that problem has occurred there. It is quite unfortunate. You know, they should not think that if there is a problem in Rakhine, Myanmar is in trouble. They should not see Rakhine as a sort of Myanmar's problem.
So going on to a different topic, your president came. Congratulations on that very successful visit recently, because I know you also signed 2 MOUs with this government.
Yes.
So perhaps you can tell us about the highlights of that visit.
Yeah, I must say that her visit went extremely well, and I should like to thank the government and the people of Myanmar for giving all the support and assistance to make her visit success. As you said, there were 2 MOUs were signed. One is on the cultural cooperation, and the other one is on tourism cooperation, because these are 2 so important for our 2 countries, because we share the same sort of similar tradition and culture, and religions are not so we have sort of similar social system, culture, even food habits, are similar.
We have a lot in common.
Lot in common, and that's why I think those two MOUs were very, very important from my point of view. We had also signed 3 MOUs before. One on the trade and investment. It was signed during the visit of State Councillor during her visit to Kathmandu in November 2018. And prior to that, 2 MOUs were signed in Kathmandu again, one on the bilateral consultation mechanism and the other one on the exemption of visa for government officials and diplomats, and so that made our life easier. But before I came to Myanmar, we didn't have any kind of MOU signed. So I must thank the government of Myanmar for making it possible.
And so with the MOU signed, what sort of progress do you think the relationship between the two countries can make?
It is, I must say, it is a good beginning. The trade is now increasing between the two countries. Mostly the commodities from Myanmar to Nepal has increased significantly. That there are also many opportunities, many potentials to do business between the two countries. And I must say that so far we didn't have much business in the past because the business people or businessmen of Myanmar didn't know the market of Nepal. Similarly, Nepali businessmen, they didn't know at all what Myanmar looks like and what kind of goods available. So they had no idea about the market. But now it has increased significantly.
Yeah, so that means there needs to be more visits between the two countries.
Which is very essential.
Yeah, and so perhaps I can go on and ask you about the 2020 tourist year that you have been working on.
Well, yeah, our government has announced 2020 as a Visit Nepal year. And then the purpose is to increase the flow of tourists coming to Nepal. And with the completion of Gautam Buddha International Airport in Lumbini, we hope that the flow of pilgrims and tourists from Myanmar will increase significantly. Recently, Chinese President Xi Jinping was in Kathmandu. He also expressed the same way that perhaps the Buddhists in China might wish to come to Nepal, to Lumbini. So there are good progress, I must say, to bring more and more tourists to Nepal in the next year. And this is, and I should say, it is not the end of that. You know, it is just the beginning to invite more and more tourists, because at the moment the figure of tourists coming to Nepal is very small as compared to other neighboring countries.
So what's the biggest attraction for tourists to your country?
Well, there are many attractions, in fact, but the people in the world, they know about Mount Everest. So many, they come for mountaineering, to climb Mount Everest and then feel that they have been in the top of the world. And then secondly, of course, Lumbini, which is the Center for Peace, as well as for Buddhists. It is very important site for worshipping and pay homage to Lord Buddha. And also we have many cultural sites there, many cultural heritage, natural beauties, and also it's a good destination for adventurous tourism. So we have many things to offer, but still we have not been able to convince people to come and visit Nepal. Yeah, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to invite as many as Myanmar people to visit Nepal next year. It is a coincidence, I must say, that next year, 2020, is also the 60th anniversary of our bilateral relations between Myanmar and Nepal. Because though the diplomatic relation was established 60 years ago, but we had opened our consulate office in 1948. So, but we celebrate 60th anniversary as a diplomatic relation. So it's a coincidence. And when our president met with His Excellency President Woo Min, as well as the state councillor, the leaders, they discussed that we should celebrate the 60th anniversary of bilateral relation successfully. At the same time, the two leaders assure that they will encourage as many as Myanmar people to visit Nepal, to make visit Nepal a success. What I hear that perhaps there might also be a possibility of a high-level visit from Myanmar once the Gautam Buddha International Airport in Lumbini is open, and the business community, they are also ready to take few charter flights to Lumbini from here. And the travel agencies and tour operators, they would also like to see that pilgrims from Myanmar, they visit Lumbini first and then to Bodh Gaya, because that is the right course to follow, from the birth and then the place of enlightenment and then the place of Dhamma and then the Sarnath where Gautam Buddha Nirvana. Yes, when you reach Nirvana. Yeah.
So you make it all sound so attractive that I want to visit myself.
You must, and it's not only you, perhaps you should also bring your friends and your relatives. And what I learned that you have a childhood friend or your classmate in Kathmandu, so that will give you an opportunity to meet your friend as well after many years.
That's true. So on that note, I would like to say thank you for giving us time. Thank you for inviting us to your embassy, and also not only the embassy but to your country. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.